Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for coming back to the Cousin Cecil Show. I'm your host, Mike Fowler, aka Cousin Cecil, and again, this is when you hear it, it's another Wednesday, so that means another bonus episode with a awesome comic author again. And this week, I have another one that's been basically, I'm pretty confident to say, his story has been hitting the comic world by storm in the sense of it is going to on its third printing. It's the first one of this studio that he goes through, Mad Cave Studios, for the publishing. But I'd like to welcome to the show David Hazan. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing well.
Yeah. More the story that we're at hand you are writing is Nottingham for Mad Cave Studios, like I said, and it's been popular. It's been booming a lot.
Yeah, I'm equally very, very glad that it's doing well, but also like terrified
Yeah.
and a little bit confused. But it's been a great ride so far.
Well, even let's break it down a little bit. Would you mind telling the listeners, obviously, what is Nottingham about and like the style and all that fun jazz?
Yeah. So Nottingham is a medieval noir. We took the Robin Hood mythos and basically turned it on its head. And so our story stars the Sheriff of Nottingham as the main character, as he delves into the mystery of who has been murdering Nottinghamshire's tax collectors. And the further he delves, the more he realizes that he's going to be kind of trapped between the political forces that are at play at the time, including the Merry Men, who have been branded terrorists and who haunt the trees of Sherwood Forest.
So, obviously, as you were talking, it sounds very close to the myths and lores of Robin Hood that we know, but you have been putting a very excellent twist into that noir, like you said. I was able to pick up obviously digital copies, and I have uh, I I put you guys under the hot picks for the Cousin Cecil. Usually, like when it first came out, Nottingham, I gave it a it's the hot pick. You guys should check it out before I even read it. I knew it was something. I just saw the people like the storm was pushing this theory that Nottingham is going to be big, and I read it and I was kind of amazed and floored in the sense of I have been getting into a more of a renaissance of reading that are non-cape, not so superhero style comic books. And this hit up my alley because I was a detective noir comic and it's really well done. I just want to congratulate you on that too before we get farther and all that stuff. And it sounds like we might have a little delay.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was more trying to say before the robot got in. No, I want to more congratulate you. It's been a
Thank you.
very interesting first two issues because obviously May 12th, I believe, is the third issue comes out of this five issues, correct?
5 issues. Yeah.
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 And then yeah, it is what makes it good, and I'm not, of course, I don't know if anybody likes to hear like that kind of analogy. You gave the Nottingham and Robin Hood storyline, it has like the darkness of like a Game of Thrones of like that inner castle like shit behind their back stuff. And what I really appreciate is because it's in the eyes of like the the kings and like the knights guard and stuff. Like when there was a part when the in issue two when the interrogation of the sheriff was doing interrogating people and they were describing the merry men, or it could have been Robin Hood for them all they knew, that the person who did your art made it look like it was like a actual like supernatural creature with that mask, that who thought of that mask for like Robin Hood.
As always, it's a collaborative effort. So all the merry men have these masks, and we sort of I gave some pointers, which was like I wanted it to look like the Guy Fawkes mask. So I wanted the visual reference to V for Vendetta. And I gave Shane Connery Volk, who is our incredibly talented line artist. Kind of a what a mask of that kind would look like at that time, so 12th century England. And then I told him it had to have a creepy smile because, like, I wanted to play up like the merry men as something that is like not necessarily merry at all. So I gave him those elements, and he spun it out into something that is really awesome. And from the moment I saw that design, I was like, "This is gonna be great." Yeah, like, and it's been an awesome collaborative experience. And I have nothing, negative to say about working with the people who I've worked with, who I should probably shout out here because,
That's a good idea. Yes.
yeah. So Shane Connery Volk is the line artist. Luca Romano is our colorist, who is in Italy, and Shane is in Canada. And our letterer is Jomette Gill. She's in the States. And then we have our brilliant and talented editor from Mad Cave Studios in the States, Brian L. Hawkins.
Oh, Mr. Hawkins.
Yes.
He's a cool guy. He's been on the show.
Everybody in this team is much cooler than I am.
Well, I mean, that's behind the veil for the listeners. I was actually in a conversation with him yesterday, and he said you are a pretty cool dude. So he got me pretty amped up about this, and that's all good to go. I also was that mask, and like I didn't know you obviously said straight up in the sense of like we got some good V for Vendetta vibes to it, because of that is going into your favor of we are definitely in a buyer's market of comics right now. I think listening to people, it's because of a bad thing, the pandemic. It has brought people back to this, comics and being able to look up and we have like in the States, sounds dumb, but like we have people who like to buy Pokemon cards and like the stores are all vacant right now because of people collecting and / secondhand selling them. And which brought back to Nottingham is that cover of issue 1 that's been out there of just it has coincidentally the V for Vendetta style of that really up close to that mask. I really wish I could find it, but it's up there on some price right now on some eBays. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think that also surprised me because I'm fairly new to comics. Like, I've been doing this for maybe 3 years, if that, at this point. So and that includes just like reading comics to any serious extent. So like the whole collector culture, it kind of like it hit me pretty hard when I started to see just the regular cover for issue 1, like the first printing, going for the prices that it was going for on eBay. That's insane.
Yeah. It's definitely, I wonder if is it probably more of a state thing? Because I don't think is that crazy it is like that in Australia and stuff.
It is as crazy. Like, I think that collector culture kind of spans beyond international borders. But I guess the comics culture in general isn't as big here, which is a shame. But we have our little epicenters of comics stuff. And I'm hoping that once the world opens up again, people are like enticed to travel, and we can get some of that international sort of trade of knowledge and experience going again. And at conventions here, we usually mostly in terms of comics talent, we get local talent, and we don't really get any talent from overseas coming over. So
right.
It'd be nice to see that once things can happen again.
I hope so too, man. I'm really hoping the light at the end of the tunnel is coming, and obviously we can get, of course, more make sure we know what we're doing. But yeah, get back into the way of things, swing of things, of having conventions and all this stuff. Because I feel for even for you and also other people I've listened to, you guys are hitting these like you guys are. It sounds dumb how I'm saying, but like you guys are hitting lightning in a bottle at this moment in time, and you guys can't even like go to the conventions or even intertwine with your fans besides people jumping in your DMs like I did to get you on the show. But like, you know what I'm saying? I think it's
Ye- Yeah, look, I think of it in a glass half full kind of way. In that, we're very very blessed to have been able to hit the numbers that we've hit with a first book for me and Shane in the middle of a pandemic. Like it's crazy, and
yeah.
none of us really anticipated how crazy it was going to get. But we are very very thankful and very happy to be able to bring you something that clearly, and I mean you as the collective, you as in the audience, something that people love.
Yeah, no, we'll tiptoe into some more of the current news that happened through Mad Cave, but I want to get into also just because you kind of went into it. You said you're kind of new into comics itself. What's your background? Like your stories? What's your story? How'd you get into where you are right now into writing a awesome comic right now?
So I was never I was always into kind of superhero slash comics related media growing up, but um, I was kind of in a position where I was constantly being told that comics were like for kids, and they were immature medium, and it took me until a few years ago to break out of that when some of my colleagues at the day job decided to start shoving comics in my hand to shut me up, to stop me talking about movies and TV. And it's just really snowballed from there. I just kind of fell in love with comics, and I decided I was going to write them. Like I've always been a writer. But it wasn't until I found comics that I was like, oh, I'm home, and like pushing out a comic script just feels natural to me in a way that like writing prose never did.
Right.
And so basically I entered Mad Cave's talent search on a whim. I almost didn't enter because I was sitting on the script and almost didn't meet the deadline, but luckily I managed to accidentally wake up in the middle of the night because deadlines are weird when you're across the other side of the world, um, and realized I hadn't submitted it and sent it in hurriedly, um, and I won, and Nottingham was the result of all of that.
What was are you allowed to say like what you turned in? Like is it somewhere close to Nottingham or is it only because I obviously dipped into your website, your davidhazan.com. I read your free comic that Love Harder. I like that
Mm-hmm.
one. That's a very also another great. It's just a little maybe what uh like
4 pages.
4 pages, but it just has a great hook. Like I love that like the Love Harder. It's about you put a little sorcery, but also the guy had a little bit of a cape for a superhero. Like I see what you're right when you were describing. Like I can see that
Yeah.
you wrote that.
Yeah, it always puts a smile on my face when people say they've read that, because it's like one of my favorite things I've written in you know ever, really, and it's just a kind of, it really encapsulates what I love about comics. Because there's like, it's 4 pages, 9 panel grids. I'm doing some like stupid formalistic stuff, and it's meant to make people feel sad. So that's my sweet spot for things I love about comics. That came about through a short comics competition, which we didn't even place in, but what happened was I'd written the script, I'd sent it to my artist at the time who had to drop out for personal reasons,
Yeah.
and I was chatting to a friend, and I was like, oh, like, com- not really complaining, but just like venting about it, and he was like, I'll do it. There was 12 hours left in this competition. He draws 4 pages of 9 panel grids in 12 hours. And
Wow.
I'm like hurriedly lettering them close to the deadline. We managed to get it. It was some crazy stuff. But yeah, I love that story. For me was me venting about my feelings about queer storytelling tropes.
Yeah.
Um, Particularly the bury your gays trope, which uh, in popular media basically almost for a very long time, and this is not as true now, but for a very long time, uh, queer couples usually ended up in a very bad way at the end of stories, and there was never a happy ending uh, for queer couples in any mainstream portrayals for a very long time. And so that was me venting my feelings about that and the intersection between that and my thoughts on how Hollywood treats race. So it was a whole bunch of feelings that I condensed into 4 pages.
No,
And
and
it's a story about stories, which I love, and hopefully it makes people sad. I'm a sadist, maybe.
no, I read it, and like I said, I knew it had a Ozzy had a hit a nerve because I knew through your profile. I'm like, all right, I knew his, I obviously know your sexuality and all that stuff, and then you kind of hit on the head of like I haven't noticed it, so you must be saying it true, like gay relationships have now become more of a, it's not the like it's already hit the barrier, not the barrier, but like the jumped over the problems of like now we're just like normalizing it and all that fun jazz. Like sounds dumb at the moment, but like me and my fiance are like rewatching Modern Family, so like that actually sparked up how you said it. I'm like, man, they actually are doing pretty well in that one. But then and then it gets me also about my other friends and what's going on with like racial things and like the idea of like I'm going to say a term, but obviously it's probably not how Hollywood involves it. But like like black torture is in right now, and having them overcome something at the end that's really hot right now. It is what it is. I mean, of course, I understand
Yeah.
people want to get some checks, but hey, that's how it goes. But I did like your in fact, because I had how it downloads, I have it still in my Google Drive. I read it right before this show again.
Thank you. Thank you. I
No,
appreciate that.
no problem. And then is there a, because I don't know that much of the Robin Hood lore for Nottingham. Is there anything that's from like a factual from it that is maybe like that we don't know about? Of course, we knew like there's of course was tax collection and all that stuff, and like that'd be kind of cool if you actually said actually yeah they actually wore types of masks like this, like how the Merry Men did.
Yeah, so not quite that specific, but um, what I will say is that we in researching this, I stole a lot from the actual history of the time. So we all know that like Robin Hood was a myth, but the the like I've made sure that the historical context is addressed because it's kind of relevant in order to understand the social and political forces at play. Um, and so very much there's this power struggle that goes for really for decades between uh, King Richard and Prince John. Um, and so there are bits and pieces of the history that I've taken from there, and um, you see that in issue 2, and you know, hopefully, if we get to do more of this, there'll be more of it. But I can't speak too much to that now.
Right. For the listeners, because this will happen. This video is going to, or not video. This audio is going to be out before when I say the news that happened this week. I hope, and most likely, there probably will be some more Nottingham. At least I'll say it. I have no inside knowing because of I'm assuming with the new Mad Cave Studios and with Echo Lake getting some new making some contracts so you can get into like film and like TV shows, and how the presentation of the contracts was talking about Nottingham. I'm pretty confident for you, sir. You got a pretty bright future with the sheriff of Nottingham right now.
Yeah, look, we will see. I had no idea about what was going on with that until it dropped, like everybody else. So
right.
Um,
Trust me, I wasn't trying to hit you to try and make you slip or nothing.
No. I honestly, if I did know, I'd be happy to discuss whatever I could discuss, but I don't know anything.
But no, and then but yeah. What is since you started getting into comics recently? Well, how you said it, but what are some of your favorite author? Like, who gave you the spark to try to do comics? Like, what authors got you?
Greg Rucka is a big one. The first thing that kind of made me fall in love with comics was Batwoman Elegy, which is, of course, like not only queer and sad, but also like queer Jewish and sad, which is just perfectly in my wheelhouse. So that hit home runs with me, and like the J.H. Williams art is also just flawless. Like, it's stunning. With those wacky layouts, and it's perfect. Like, that book is just perfect. And then for me, since then it's been like Tom King all the way, because again, it's formalistic and sad, and just like it tugs at the heartstrings in ways that I just find very appealing.
Yeah, no, I'm a big Tom King fan myself because of I loved his whole, like, he was the guy who obviously ran Batman through the whole rebirth section, and then obviously pushed out the idea of the Batman Catwoman wedding, and that was of course. And then I'm also looking forward to his him doing Supergirl in June, so I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, I that looks really cool. I'm excited to see him do, a headlining character that isn't like a sad kind of
Brooding.
Sad late 30s to to late 40s white man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like how he expands into something a little different.
Right. Yeah. No, he's been obviously he's either been a white 30s male brooding with Rorschach Batman, or a robot with the visions. So yeah, I am.
But I mean, the Vision is just, in some respects, he may be like colorful, but he's just like the same. But I loved all those takes. That's not my critique. I'm just like looking for something different now. But my favorite Tom King thing is actually Strange Adventures. I just think that is like such a perfect take, and I love the two artists thing is just right up my alley. So I've loved everything that Tom King has done so far, pretty much. Like some of the distant heroes in Crisis, well, but playing tricks on our dear friend Wally West.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of that too, and I didn't finish Heroes in Crisis just because of situation with money and life. But no, I was reading it through app, and I need to get back into it because I also wanted to read the like I think what came out of that was the flash forward with like Flash becoming like almost like a speed god or something. But no, I'm excited, and also I was more curious of also so if you got to branch out from Nottingham, you got to come up to any superhero. What superhero would you want to write for?
Oh, this is a complicated question. Uh, I would love to write Kate Kane. Uh, I I just I have some feelings on Batwoman that I'd love to run with. Um, Otherwise, I want to write a Star War. Like that's where I'm at. Um, and obviously, I'd tackle whatever was available to me. But I just I don't have because I'm not like a long time comics guy. I don't have like particularly strong feelings on this is a character I'd love to write. Um, but more like this is a character that I identify with and I think would like I could do a good job at. But I've been a long time Star Wars guy and I'd love to play with those toys.
No, I see it, and then also, hey, that doesn't matter when you start. Obviously, yeah, you have more of a fresher take of a character that's probably like in the hot pan right now because of Batwoman, even having like the TV show and all that stuff. That probably helps it too because I'm still in the I'm in the what is it? I'm still questioning what they're doing with this Infinite Frontier, only because I'm a old school DC fan and I like that the it was like a one shared universe and not so many branching off different side stories because but like I think I think with this opportunity with how DC is opened up, they could definitely if you pitch it right, I bet money they could get you Batwoman or something. And
This is in a brave and distant future.
yeah.
I'm just happily making Nottingham now and some other things I got on my plate and we'll see.
No, yeah, put it on your vision board. Keep it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It, what's next after Nottingham for you?
Um, Most things I can't really talk about. I will say I've got another thing coming at Mad Cave that I can't really talk about. Um, and I also have so the one thing that I can sort of talk about is I'm working with Australian publisher Gestalt Comics, and I'm doing a story in an anthology that they're doing. That hopefully is coming this year, maybe next year. But yeah, it's a sci-fi anthology that I'm excited to be a part of, and was like the first thing that I actually got invited to be a part of post Nottingham. And the story looks great, so I'm really excited for people to see that.
Awesome. And then is that like is that coming into like the like our American side of being able to pick that up too if it does come out?
Um, I can't confirm that, um, but it'll regardless it'll be available digitally on Comixology and probably in other places too.
Okay. No, that's good to know too. No, and then I'm more happy to hear. I mean, of course, with the with the boom of it, I knew that you're going to have more work coming through. But it's more happy to hear that you're still collaborating with Mad Cave Studios at when it's all said and done about that. And is there, man? I'm more impressed. Like I like to how I word it. Was there anything that caught you to think like this was going to explode like it is right now? The Nottingham and all that stuff.
No, I had high hopes, but beyond that, I was just like, we're making a comic. We know it's good. Let's see how people feel about it. But I think so. As background, when I won the competition, Mad Cave. Usually, when you win, Mad Cave gives you a couple of different pitches to choose from, and they kind of pitch the stuff to you. Um, but here whatever they had fell through, so they just kind of gave me a genre and let me sort of take the reins, and I gave them something that was a little closer to what I thought they wanted, and also Nottingham. And they went with Nottingham, and the reason I kind of pitched them Nottingham was that I wasn't really, I guess, giving them any new characters, which is like kind of like a crappy writer way to think about it, but also like I was really excited about the idea as well. Um, and yeah, I think the sheer fact that we're playing with characters that people like know and love and giving them a new twist on it is what has made it so popular.
Oh yeah, totally. Because that's where I could definitely say like the idea of all the ideas, the different ideas, shows and stuff, it has definitely been on the Robin Hood side of the conversation. And this is the first one in a while that obviously we are with the sheriff. He is also like he's not just straight up bad. He's not, of course, he's not good. He is definitely in that gray range that keeps the reader going in for especially for me, and also like um yeah, and he's also on the lighter gray compared to the sum like in issue 2 when he investigated that person who was on patrol and he just ended up in that woman's chambers and stuff. That was a good paneling too. I would have to say, just more pat on the back for that one too.
Oh, that was all Shane. I think we tossed around a couple of ideas with that and ended up going with the least offensive visual way to show that.
Oh, what well, without probably easy to cushion on to spoil, what would you say what's your favorite issue out of the 5? Of course, we only have 2 out.
Oh, this is such a hard question. Um, my favorite issue to write was probably issue 2. My favorite issue to read is probably issue 3.
Ooh, okay. I like your teaser just because obviously right now we can jump out and go read the one you loved right, and then next in about 2.5 weeks we got the third one
Yeah.
coming out. Sweet. And then also just because you're a TV guy, what you've been watching?
What have I been watching? Good question. I've been watching whatever's on the CW. I watch all of that. Falcon and Winter Soldier. Um, I've been watching what else? Sorry, it's just like so much TV. I'm watching this new show, The Nevers, the HBO one,
Yeah.
which I didn't really have any expectations for, and I think that the casting is really fun. Unfortunately, it's given the news about Joss Whedon, it's like not the greatest pick in the world, but
You and me could be friends because that's how I felt when I watched the first episode. I'm like, all right, let's turn on. I did not know he produced it at first. I'm like, all right, this is an all right show. And then you saw his name. I'm like, ooh.
yeah, he's no longer attached to it apparently.
Well,
But yeah, I think the first season there's a lot of Whedon. But I really enjoyed that. I thought the talent was really good. I should really just bring up my TV app and tell you exactly what I'm watching because it's a lot.
because you're in the different, obviously in the different time zone. Is episode 6 of Winter Soldier up?
I have no idea what time it goes up. I usually watch it on a Saturday night with some friends. So um, I assume it comes up in the evening tonight. So it's now 10:30 a.m. here. So on a Friday night is when it's usually available.
Oh, okay. No, because obviously sounds like a dumb answer. Yeah, well, in the States, of course, we have to wait for West Coast midnight. So that's for me on the East Coast is 3 a.m. So I was just wondering, like,
That's yeah. Yeah, look, some things come out at weird times here, but for the most part, we have to wait till if it's network stuff here or something that's been purchased by a network, we have to wait till that airs. Otherwise, it's on streaming
Oh,
often when it's on streaming in the US, but it kind of depends on the rights deal. Like international entertainment rights are so weird.
right. No, and then do you like Superman Lois? What do you think of
I really love that show. I think it's like batting well above what I expected from the CW. I like that they're taking a risk and not just following their formula. I wish they had taken similar risks with the Batwoman show, because I think it would have turned out a lot better than what it is. Although I will say season 2 is a marked improvement on season 1. Um, no shade to Ruby Rose, because I actually thought she was kind of perfect casting, but I
right?
think the writing and storylines kind of let her down on Batwoman, because it just kind of forced her into a Batman role, which is not what that character is about, at least to me.
No, yeah, I was gonna say I wish I need to get into the season 2, but I what I watched of it, I did like they made the best out of nothing because obviously the situation with Ruby Rose leaving and all that stuff. I do like the new Batwoman, her character and her little backstory. I was more curious because when it first started, I'm like, all right, you know, it is what it is. Something has to switch up. So they're going to bring out this new, like, you know, Black Batwoman. I thought we are going to actually hear her into the comic world a little bit faster, but no. Then I hear the news that they're going to have the one lady, I believe, from Battlestar, but she's going to be Ruby, or not Ruby Rose. She's going to be Kate Kane back into the
Yeah,
series.
yeah. So they had this whole absurd storyline with the Skin Pirate, where everybody's like playing face off,
Yeah,
uh, and it was just it was a bit ridiculous to me, and so they're just using that as a vehicle to recast. Um, Sometimes I think it's better to just recast and not say a word.
right. No,
um,
I was also going to say that watch this. This is how you can round around this whole conversation. But with like the idea of like Superman and Lois having this new story of with Superman having twin sons, I
yeah,
I do think that's very interesting, and what you are doing, and that gives me back into the idea of you are doing some interesting work, and I want to just give you a congratulations on Nottingham.
thank you.
And then I guess before we even leave, I was going to say, are you reading anything that's, of course, don't have to be like, you know, the big two. Is there any indie comics you're reading or interested, you know, want to just shout and say they're doing a good job too?
Um, I have to shout out Villainous. By Stoney Williams and Jeff Sedzinski, because that book is great. They managed to do something fun and different in a world where, you know, like superheroes are so popular, and it's an indie superhero book that is fun and feels different, uh, even though it's going to get compared to everything else. So everybody, the trade for Villainous, I think, is either out or comes out very soon. Should get on that train, because there is a volume 2 for that coming. Um, Apart from that, I've been reading like mostly just Tom King stuff. It's really hard to read, find time to read comics when you spend a lot of time writing comics. You
Oh, I
really
bet.
have to set the time aside. And at the moment for me, it's a bit chaotic with some big things going on at the day job, and I just moved into state, so I haven't been reading as much as I should have. Um, but I'm about to launch into a reread of These Savage Shores, which is phenomenal for anyone who likes horror, particularly gothic horror. Um, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm also, I like to also leave you with two options too. One of them
Oh yeah,
is a more of a, not a superhero, of course, either, uh, is from I forgot the gentleman's name. I'll look it up, but it's called Resonant. It's from Vault Comics.
yeah,
Have you even heard of it?
David Andrew, and I believe the artist on it currently is Skylar Partridge, and her work is phenomenal. I've seen it all over Twitter. It's on my list of things to read.
Yeah, no,
We'll get there.
I kind of went on a
Vault
whim on it.
Comics.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went on a whim on it because of just how Twitter does that. Twitter's magic on some stuff. Someone just shot a cover of it, and then I said that looks really cool. And obviously, David tweeted back, said, "Just so you know, issue 1's free on the website." I jumped on it, then I bought his volume 1, and that is by far the most. That's the fastest ever set up for the world into like this crazy idea of like, hey, there's these things of these waves that happen that make people impulse on their last, like their deep dark thoughts and become like, like start like tearing at each other and all that stuff. And then next, the dad's like, hey, I'm gonna go get medicine. Oh, whoops, I tripped. I'm on an island fighting cannibals. I want to leave you like that on that because I thought it was kind of crazy how fast that baby went. And then another one, since you said you're rereading These Savage Shores.
Yeah.
Well, since you probably already sound like you know, but Ram V came out this week with a fucking banger of that, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. You should check that one out too.
Everything Ram V is on my list.
I bet. No, I know.
My list is very, very large. I've been trying to do this thing where I do like one current thing and one thing, like one classic, and it's really hard when people are making such great stuff and it's just grabbing my attention.
We are two peas in the pod, and I just more want to say, hey, thank you, David, for coming on. Please tell everybody where they can find you, of course, and all that fun jazz.
All right. Best place to find me is on Twitter at David T Hazan. That's the letter T. And for those who don't like to read, Hazan. So David T Hazan on Twitter, and you can also find my website at www.davidhazan.com.
And then also, please go pick up Nottingham. And right now, good luck finding it. So I definitely say go to Comixology or your digital storefronts and go pick it up. It is a great noir. And again,
yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, Mad Cave is doing a digital subscription service. It's like $20 US gets you the digital issues as they come out, and then the physical trade. So you should definitely hit that up as well.
Thank you for reminding me, because I just right when you started talking about, I'm like, yes, that also gets you the trade of physical trade. So yes, that is another great thing to do. Go to Mad Cave Studios. And guess what? I bet money if you follow Mad Cave Studios, you will find David Hazan, because he end up on their Twitch streams, YouTube, all that fun jazz. And also shout out the artists again and the letterer.
Shane Connery Volk, Luca Romano, and Joe Met Gill. So that's the line artist, color artist, and letterer.
All right. And again, thank you, Dave, for coming on. I'm Cousin Cecil. Yes. And then until next time, like we say every week, be good to each other, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks.